Hi friends, welcome back to Season That-ish. Today we're going to be making some awesome broccoli and cheddar soup. It's kind of cold out here. Actually, the weather has been switching back and forth in New York. It's been rainy and I wanted some comfort food. So the first thing that we're going to do, as always, is prep our ingredients. I'm starting off with some onions and some garlic that I'm going to be chopping up. My knife skills are a little bit rocky, and I know Gordon Ramsay will be screaming at me, okay? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna mind our business and drink our water until I could get it together, okay? I am chopping up the garlic, and I'm going to put that off to the side when I'm done. And as you can see, I have some of my other ingredients lined up. Some of the ingredients that I'm going to be prepping right now are going to be the carrots. Obviously, I'm going to chop those up, and I'm also going to be grating our cheese. Make sure that you get sharp cheddar cheese because I feel like it brings the most flavor to your soup. And don't get the shredded kind. Please shred your own cheese. I know my cheese grater is a little janky. I keep saying this in every video, but it works. So grate your own cheese because some of the pre-grated stuff has things in there that you don't want. And what you just saw over there, the little red spot, is some habanero pepper that I just took a little bit of just because I want my soup a tiny bit spicy. If you don't have habanero, you could use Scotch bonnet, you can use cayenne pepper, or if you don't like things that spicy at all but you just want a tiny bit of a kick, just use black pepper. I'm throwing in my butter. Now, despite the fact that this soup is technically very vegetable heavy, does not mean that it's not going to have a lot of butter and milk and cheesy creamy goodness. So go easy on this soup. Don't try to make it every single day because this recipe is not really up there with your healthiest recipes, okay? If you get what I'm saying. So I am going to sweat my onions and my garlic a little bit, and I'm going to also leave my pepper in there because I want the spice to infuse into the butter. I did some unnecessary mixing around. And now here comes the important part. You're going to add a little bit of flour to your butter and you are going to cook that down. Now the flour is what is going to make your sauce thick. Okay, it's going to thicken up your sauce. I added some more butter to that, and slowly I'm going to begin adding the milk. Okay, don't add the milk all at once because you don't want your sauce to be lumpy. Essentially, we're just making a roux so that our soup can be thick and delicious, because there's nothing worse than getting broccoli and cheddar soup at a restaurant and you're drinking it and it's super liquidy and runny. I want my soup to be thick, okay? If it's a cheesy creamy soup, I want it to be thick. And here you're seeing me going to fish out the habanero pepper that I put in because they are super spicy, so I didn't want to keep them in there for the entire cooking process, or else it would make my soup difficult to drink and super spicy. So if you don't want to take that risk, you should, like I said, use cayenne pepper or black pepper. At this point, I'm adding in my chicken broth, and the chicken broth is really going to get your soup a little bit more liquidy, so you can start adding your vegetables and cooking down your vegetables. So then you can start cooking down your vegetables, and as your vegetables cook down, the sauce itself or the soup itself is going to start to reduce. So the amount of chicken broth that you put in will be a lot, will come out to a lot less in the end because it's going to reduce down. I added in my carrots and my broccoli to the mix, and as you can see, when I put more ingredients into the pot, the soup kind of cools down and it has to come back up to a boil. So in the meantime, I started adding my seasonings. I added first some parsley, which I really love the flavor of. I added in some garlic powder. Now I'm putting in my onion powder, and despite the fact that we have garlic and onions in the soup already, I like having the dried seasoning because it adds a slightly different flavor to the vegetables that we already have. I added in some paprika, and now I'm just going to stir that all in there. As you can tell, I did not add any salt at this point. And the reason why I didn't add any salt at this point is because I wanted to put my cheese in first and put the rest of my salty ingredients in first so that I don't oversalt my soup. If you put too much at the beginning, you can't take it out, right? So it's better to start off with nothing or start off with very little and then add as you go along. If you missed it, I also added a sprig of thyme while my soup was boiling, and I removed it at the end once everything was done boiling so that it wouldn't get blended up with my vegetables. What I'm doing now is adding some broccoli into my little blender, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I prefer, like I said, like a nice creamy, smooth, chunky soup, and so I like little pieces of broccoli in there, but I also like to have the broccoli blended up as well. So I do about half and half there. Then I started to slowly add in my cheddar cheese, and this is why grating your own cheese is super important, because if we had used some of that pre-grated stuff, it would take forever to melt down. And I typically add a splash here and there of the chicken broth just to loosen up the soup a little bit if it ever ends up getting too thick. I poured it into my favorite little bowl, got it ready to serve, and the toppings that we're going to be adding are going to be some extra cheese and some crispy bacon that I have on the side there. Serve this to anyone on any day, but especially when it's cold or when it's raining, and they will thank you for it. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Season That Ish is very new. It's something that I'm really passionate about and starting up in 2020. Please give me a like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting new videos multiple times a week. 3 to 4 times a week is my goal. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and get ready for new videos coming your way.